Okay, so welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a couple months since I've done a last podcast, but with recent events happening, I think it's a good time that we spoke up about how we feel and my opinions, and if you want to hear about my opinions and my feelings about what's been going on recently. Yes. So, as everybody around the world knows about what happened on Tuesday about Charlie Kirk getting assassinated. And it kind of rocked our world a little bit. I know there's lots of people online sharing that there was some sort of spiritual feeling that they felt after he died. Even though many of us have never watched much of his videos or knew him personally, we just feel like certain sadness that's like, sure, lots of people have died, lots of famous people we probably liked that are famous, but this one just hits different. It's weird. But yeah, with things going on, I think it's a good time that we said our opinions about this stuff. So, it wasn't good. For what during this time right now, he, what was his name? The person that assassinated him, Timothy Robert
Robinson? Something Robinson?
Stephen Robinson, something like that. Yeah. I'll put a thing right here, what his actual name and picture is. He is in custody right now. He's in jail. And I've seen online that they're going to execute him in Utah or something. I don't know how much I believe that. Or just face some sort of lifelong jail sentence. But that's what's going on right now.
Yeah.
So, with all this going on and seeing around the world people rallying up, going in streets and supporting him, saying that I am Charlie Kirk and having flags out, it makes me feel very good that all this is going on and the right side is now fighting back or now speaking out more than ever before. It just makes me sad that if you've been listening to the previous podcast, we don't live in America. We live on the other side of the world. And I just feel like there's not too much I can do. I can't go to any of these rallies. I know September 21st at the Bills Stadium in Buffalo, there's going to be a whole thing that you can go to. And I wish I could be there. I wish I could do that, but I can't. So I'm trying what little I can do here in Vietnam. There is nothing going on over here. The Vietnamese people don't really know because they don't know.
Yeah, but we can be more objective because we're not in America. I can't imagine how I would be feeling being there, especially when half the country is liberal and half the country is Republican. And then there's, people who are leftists versus people who are liberals, so there's going to be those people who are making fun of it, and those could be people you work with.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. That would make me so angry. It makes me angry enough about everything that happened and learning more, because I care more about the facts and I care more about uncovering truths. And I don't know if I'm the only one. I can't imagine I am, but realizing that Antifa this entire time has been a militant protest group. And for those who aren't familiar with the word militant, it means aggressive and violent. Not my words, just the definition of militant. Different than military. And that this group has been allowed to do protests at Charlie Kirk's rallies, as well as attacking police stations across the nation, and that they're being funded by taxpayers and by suing basically the governments, the local state governments. They're suing the states by capturing biased recordings from these riots and protests that they're doing, again, violently and aggressively, something that I don't think we should stand for, and I definitely think led to his death, pretty obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about the guy who shot him? He was, people are saying he was, right now, he was a Republican. But what I saw was he was a Republican, but he wasn't much into government stuff. But once he got into college, he like changed completely.
I mean, I believe that. I can't understand how it can still happen, I guess, because I know that it exists. But for people who don't, I guess it's more contagious or something, or still can brainwash them. But I believe that the school system, in large part, was changed about 40 or 50 years ago for the colleges, and also probably lower level schools too, to a more socialist and communist reform. Changes that the Russian government and the Chinese government implemented to influence the ideology of U.S. citizens. What's weird about that is I know that, and I can point that out, but I can't understand how somebody could go to college for a couple months and turn liberal within a couple months. I can't understand that, but that is basically what I understand to be the case for people that we call the same generation as us, but having like completely different mindsets.
Right.
He's
He's 22.
Right, like I guess that fits with what I understand, because there's people I've met and you've met that look like us and sort of act like us, but when you talk to them, you're like, how the hell do you have like your brain scan's got to come up completely different, because we don't have much in common, up here. And I can't understand how somebody who's Christian or Republican can just turn in a matter of months that dark that
Right.
quickly. But I do know that, and I don't know how far it goes, I do know that part of the Antifa organization is they do this splinter cell thing, and they are extremists.
I never heard of that. Splinter cell?
Splinter cell means that's why they don't have, there's not one leader.
Oh, yeah.
Splinter cells meaning they have little sects of them all over.
Yeah.
Without one leader. And if they are extremists, if they're like cults, like in the Philippines, then maybe there's some sort of indoctrination program we're not aware of to make you super hate, the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's like it was like a brainwashing.
It's like a brainwashing, but I can't really believe. So that's where I'm like, I don't know. I want to put my foot down, because I don't think it's like some Illuminati level, what was the brainwash clinic called? Smile Center.
Sunshine something.
Sunshine Center or something.
Yeah, now we're getting into like Hollywood though.
But I don't think it's like that, right? So I don't think it's that level.
No.
So I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was just like lightly Republican and Christian, but didn't really know his beliefs. And maybe college was his first experience with, because that's what college was for me. It was my first experience with beliefs. I was blessed to go to a college where no one gave a fuck about you, and so I could do whatever I wanted. No one was trying to brainwash me into shit.
Yeah.
So I got into philosophy on my own. I got into all my own activities on my own. There was liberal attitudes there, but there was no progressive push on you, and it was much more laid back at the campus because there wasn't much going on.
It also wasn't in the city center where that could have been possible.
It would have been more likely.
More farther away from all that.
Farther away. So I'm really grateful for that. But it was a forming period. Even after waiting, I waited 2 years to go to college. It was still a forming period for me when I finally went.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's kind of what happened to him, is he wasn't really Republican or Christian. He just kind of said he was and didn't really feel
Yeah, because
that.
I don't know about his family, but I'm sure his family must have
Maybe
been.
they were firmly, and then he was kind of doing the Sigmund Freud approach where my parents want it, so I'm kind of hesitant, how whatever your parents want, you kind of want to do the opposite.
Yeah.
Maybe it was something like that, and then whatever interactions he had at college were so profound on him that in a matter of months he turned radical dark,
Yeah, I saw a video yesterday about someone who went to school with him in high school, and that he was just a Reddit kid.
What's a Reddit kid?
Like just always online, like shit posting or like rage baiting or something like that. Because that's what was on the bullets that he scratched on there. It was stupid shit that you'd see on Reddit, like cringe ass shit. Yeah, but Anyways, with all that going on, I wish I could, like I said, do more here in Vietnam. Like, I know, I looked it up, you can have American flags hanging up in this country, but I want to be more specific and do what some of the other people are doing and put "Rest in Peace, Charlie Kirk" outside the balcony. I don't know, maybe someone will call the police because these people don't speak or read English mostly in the city we live in. But yeah, I also came up with the idea of having American things in the apartment because we really don't have any of that. And we were talking about that before we moved here, but
We didn't know how much we would miss America before we moved.
yeah,
We didn't miss America when we were there.
no, because we were there.
And we thought we were never going to miss it this much being gone.
Yeah. Since we moved here, I felt more American than living in America.
Me too.
It's so weird. Now that we're like away from it, I feel incredibly American. Especially now with the recent events, I feel incredibly American.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like we're the most American people living here, because I think we are. The people that live here, have moved here from different countries, are not thinking the same way we're thinking. They're more left-leaning.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. Which, it makes sense. I mean, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. That's like,
Well, I mean, it's interesting with the conversation I had with you the other day about moving to the next country
mhm.
and how we want to move to a more liberal country for us when we're not in America.
Let me make sure it's still recording. Okay, yeah, it is. Good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though we're right-leaning, we don't want to go to a right-leaning country because this is a right-leaning country. Even though the country's communist, they're right-leaning in the sense that they're traditionalist, they're nationalist, they're for their country, they're patriotic,
Very patriotic.
which is all good things for them, but it's not good things for people who want to come here because they're not welcoming. That is necessary to being more right-leaning. Liberal is the opposite. You are more welcoming because you're less patriotic, you're less traditionalist, you tend to be more progressive. And so it's interesting that we're running into liberal people in a communist country because that doesn't really make sense for them. Unless they're like the other side of the coin. Because there are people that have come here that have completely, you asked me the question the other day about whether we're expatriates.
Yeah, expats.
And there are people who are here who basically have given up all identity with their country, all association with their country. You see the white guys walking around with the Vietnamese chicks,
And
with
they're
the
always
kids,
bald.
and they're bald.
They're
and
always
they
bald.
have 2 or 3 kids already, and these people, if they're liberal, I think that is because they tend to have given up every chance of identifying with their country anymore. They're not seeing themselves as patriotic. They're seeing themselves as wanting to welcome Vietnamese culture as much as possible, whereas we're here, but we do not welcome Vietnamese culture as much as possible. We have very strict boundaries, and our apartment does not feel Vietnamese. I can tell you that much. It feels very American. And she said last night that, she can't even believe the apartment we live in because it doesn't feel like we do until we get to our apartment. The apartment building doesn't really feel like we live there until we get to our apartment.
Yeah.
So
This whole space, just this, 2 bedrooms, this space, and 2 bathrooms, this is the American space.
yeah.
Once I exit that hallway, it's all Vietnam, which is weird. Like, I don't feel like we live in this apartment building. Going into the lobby, there's Vietnamese people everywhere in the elevator, but once I get inside this apartment, it's like I'm back in America. And it's weird because I know I'm not, and this is Vietnam, but it's a comforting feeling.
Especially when we do the D&D Discord calls.
Yeah, when we play D&D, where am I? I'm in New York. I'm in Buffalo when I'm
Yeah.
playing D&D. I'm not here.
Mhm.
So, yeah, all this has made me want to hang up American flags, have more things like on our motorbikes. He wants to get like a couple stickers on
Yeah.
there on the helmets or on the motorbike.
Trump hats and Trump
Yeah,
shirts.
Trump hats.
And I never really cared about that stuff before, but I think it's good to show. Vietnamese people have taught me that it's good to show your pride for your country if you have it
They have so many holidays,
for the country.
just for the country,
Yeah.
and it's cool to see. It is like everyone always has the Vietnamese flag up, and they're so proud of their country.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Americans were more like that because that's starting to fade away. I was like that in high school. Oh, I know, crazy to think. Kaylee, really? Yep. I didn't really care much about America in high school. I was more about China and Asian in general and communism and all that stuff. But once, I know, and now I live in a communist country. But after high school and after a bit of time, I was like, no, it's America. I think it really hit when I moved here. That, like, yeah, no, America's pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this place sucks. I am so glad I live in Vietnam.
Yeah.
But I now see the differences and how wrong I was in 2019.
And people that tried to persuade you.
Mm-hmm.
Those people that were trying to influence you.
Yeah.
How naive that all was. But, you know, it happens. People get persuaded because they think, you know, I don't know. I think it comes back to a simple saying of like the grass is always greener on the other side sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, like, because there's lots of people saying that they hate America, they hate where they live. And these people say, okay, then leave.
Then leave.
And I bet the people that are saying they hate this country, they wish they could leave. And if they did leave and go to somewhere like a third world country like here, they'd wish they were back home. They would not be able to be in something like this for more than a month before they want to go back home.
Although, if they're liberal, maybe they would. Maybe they would adhere to the whole
Maybe this
communist
is a perfect
regime.
thing for them. If they're liberal and they like the communism, then this is the perfect place for you, I guess.
Yeah. If you're so this is what I was telling Kaylee about, was if you're a right-leaning person, you would like to go, if you're going to leave your country, you would like to go to countries that are more liberal than you, because if you go to countries that are more liberal than you, you will feel welcomed, because that's just by definition how it works. A good example is Spain and the tourist situation that happened with them, where the locals are basically sick of all the tourism, and so we're trying to find ways to protest to push them out. Goes with the fact that Spain's more right-leaning. They're trying to shut down their more liberal, progressive counterparts in politics. But Portugal is the opposite. Portugal is more open. Portugal is much more liberal, much more progressive. And so because of that, all of their laws are much more welcoming to foreigners. And you'll just find that Japan's recently had some crazy move where they're trying to get into legislation to allow 70,000 Indian immigrants into the country.
They hate that. They don't like that at all.
And the Japanese people are protesting because they don't want that, you know? And then you look at places like UK or Canada or...
Yeah, France.
France.
All those places are fucked. They ruined their country.
Well, they're liberal, for sure. And they showed it by letting everyone in, as was America, obviously, during the Biden administration. So... you know, it's just a good bit of advice to understand that wherever, if you're going to leave your country, understand your values and understand what kind of country you want to go to. Because in hindsight, it didn't make much sense for us if we were right-leaning to go to even though it sounds right. You know, we're right-leaning, let's go to a right-leaning country. That sounds right.
It makes sense.
But when you realize they're right-leaning for themselves and not you, because that's how right-leaning works, it doesn't work, you know? We've definitely not felt welcomed here multiple times. There's nice people here, but by and large, we don't feel we can be as American, like she's saying, as we want to be, because they don't want to welcome that. These people don't even know Charlie Kirk died, most likely.
There's only like one or two people that you know of that knew about what happened.
And they lived in America before. But anyone who's been here, most people don't leave Vietnam. If they're from Vietnam, they don't leave. They stay in Vietnam their entire life. They don't know anything that's going on outside in the Western world.
Continue.
Okay.
They don't know what's going on outside of the Western world?
Yeah. So, I mean, it goes to show that, like, even though it seems obvious, it's counterintuitive, and the right choice for people, in my opinion, would be to do the opposite thing. You know, same thing with I don't think a liberal person moving to another liberal country would be good either. Because if they're liberal, like if you're liberal from the United States and you want to leave your country, you wouldn't want to go to a country that didn't care about its country either, because then you would feel like you wouldn't feel good about it. You would feel bad about it. So, I don't know.
Like more liberal? A liberal person going to extreme open country?
Yeah, like someone who was in a part of America that was liberal, like New York,
Mm-hmm.
going to Portugal. Why? Why would you go there? Why would you want to get more liberal from that country?
I think if they know it's more liberal, maybe they want to be even more in something like that.
Maybe. But it doesn't, I guess what I'm saying is if it doesn't work for right-leaning people, how would it work for the left? It should work the same way.
Because the locals in that country will just see you as an American, not what side you're on. You're still American, and you don't belong in the country. If they go to like Spain or something, Japan,
Yeah,
where they go to live.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was about what I wanted to say. I just feel pretty isolated here because none of these people know much about what's going on around the world. And the only person I can talk to about this is him and myself. So,
Yep.
yep. Well, that was about it. If you guys have any comments or questions,
Don't leave them.
leave them down in the comments below. And maybe if I think of other topics, I will do another podcast. But until then, see you next time.